Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hopefully you can hear us. This is Aram Jabbari, Manager of PR and Sales with Atlus, and I am joined by Mr. Scott Williams, QA Lead for Divinity II, the Dragon Knight Saga.
Hello, everybody.
We may have some audio levels to balance as we get started. We're not all the same distance from the microphoneage. So if at any point the game audio is overpowering or our sound is overpowering, please don't hesitate to let us know. Quick start, we are hoping to have no bandwidth issues for anybody, but there's always the possibility. There's an airship that just went down in the background. That's pretty cool. If we let the title screen go off long enough, we'll be treated to a nice video. We'll get started here, and I'm going to talk. Corndog Maestro, I don't know if you're being serious or not, but so Scott, why don't we go ahead and get started, because there is an intro video that sets things up. And we're starting here with the clean profile so that you can see all the achievements. And are we going to set it to easy difficulty, just so that no one is embarrassed here today? Because Scott is actually driving this demo for us, and I want to make sure. We know that you could probably finish this on normal difficulty. Yeah, that's right, a human being. That's we were trying not to get distracted from the task at hand. So we're going to get treated to a little intro here. But first of all, we want to say that we're using a different video codec here with Ustream. So the quality should be better. Please don't hesitate to let us know if you're having any tech issues. Without further ado, let's dive into Divinity II, the Dragon Knight Saga. And we're going to get treated to an intro cinematic here that really is just music, so I can talk over it. Divinity II, the Dragon Knight Saga, takes place in the war-torn realm of Rivellon. And Rivellon is a land that has been beset by conflict and strife for a very long time. Damien, the Damned One, who I believe we're seeing here, you know he's badass because he doesn't have any hair. Damien has been the source of evil in Rivellon for a very long time. He actually disappeared for a while. He stepped away for a while. And the battle between the Dragon Slayers and the Dragon Knights is really what has been the heart of conflict in Rivellon for a very long time. Essentially, the Dragon Knights were accused of slaying the prophet or the divine of the Dragon Slayers. And in fact, at the time, they really became Dragon Slayers because of this conflict that was created. You are a disciple of the Order of Dragon Slayers, and at the beginning of the game, well, here we are, we're creating our character, and we have some light customization options we can choose from. Glad for the feedback that it's running smoothly and keeps up good frame rate. They want him to look more like me, someone just said. Unfortunately, I don't know if Middle Eastern is an option in this game. So, I see you've gone with the name Slayer, Scott. Is there any particular reason?
I am a fan of metal.
Scott likes the metal. Actually, no, you start out with the title Slayer unless you change it. And Slayer, that reminds me a bit of Fable, how you were the chicken chaser at the beginning. We'll go ahead. We'll just make yourself, starting to look a little bit like Scott Williams here. Are you going? I don't know about the slick back hair, but the facial hair definitely. Actually, yeah, that's starting to resemble the man driving the demo here.
I triggered something, but what?
All right, let's go ahead and get started. And then obviously you can choose the voice pack. Now, your responses in the game are unvoiced, but when you're hit in battle or incantations and things of the sort, you can hear yourself. Here we are, we're treated to the arrival of the Order of Dragon Slayers, at least your particular band, by awesome-looking airship. And this is the village of Farglow that we're going to arrive at. Farglow is where we will essentially train our character. This is the tutorial portion of the game. And this is Commander Rogue. She is the head of our particular branch of the Dragon Slayers. And she is bringing this expedition into Broken Valley to, in their minds, finish the Dragon Knights off once and for all. And Scott is we're going to try to manage the dialogue as best as possible. Yeah, Shane shame for wax. I'm going to touch on that in just a second.
This is the momentous
So,
in every Slayer's
fully
life.
voiced. Now, let's talk about some basic stats. 100 plus hours of gameplay. Divinity II: The Dragon Knight Saga, before I get ahead of myself, and yeah, keep going through dialogue here, Scott. Well, I'll talk over all of this. 100 plus, poop Nolan.
Only once in their lives
100
may
plus.
Dragon
So,
Slayers enter it.
let's do some backdrop here. Ego Draconis was a game that came out about a year or so ago on PC and Xbox 360. Go and look at any of the reviews, and you'll see that on average the PC version reviewed well, or better than the Xbox 360 version. Just about everyone would concede it was a game with tremendous promise for RPG fans, but it was rough around the edges, particularly the 360 port of the game, frame rate issues and things of the sort.
They are quite simple.
Much like The Witcher was enhanced by Atari and CD Projekt, and was ultimately re-released with a improved graphics engine. It was better optimized, things like the frame rate, and a lot of other little things. So too is Divinity II: The Dragon Knight Saga, a significant upgrade in the department of visuals and performance. So the graphics engine is complete. Why are you killing this rabbit? Shame on you, Scott. For shame. And another one. So, kill the bunny, as Aaron said. Oh, I shouldn't use real names. Anyways, so let's. Here we are in Dragon Knight Saga, and the graphics engine has been completely redone. The interface has been completely overhauled because the first time around, a lot of people felt that it wasn't the most intuitive console interface for such a huge epic RPG. And Dragon Knight Saga came out on PC and 360 at the end of last year. We're just bringing it to 360 now in North America. Next Tuesday, it'll be April 12th, so I believe that'll be next Tuesday, and it'll be $39.99. So for $39.99, you get a game that is established as a great RPG, and when it came out in Europe, the enhanced version, Dragon Knight Saga, great reviews. Jouvideo.com, the premier video game website in France, gave it their RPG of the Year award. And there's PC owners, PC users who've been playing it for a couple months now who would tell you that it's a fantastic RPG. And finally, the 360 version meets the expectations of RPG fans in terms of what they would hope it would deliver. So yeah, thank you for people are pointing that out. It is 100 plus hours. It comes with a soundtrack CD inside every copy, and to make matters even better, we said the art book, 52 pages, full color, is a pre-order bonus. But the truth is, if you go into most retailers to pick it up off a store shelf, you'll actually find that it's a shrink-wrapped bundle that includes the art book as well. So we kind of lied. More than just pre-orders can get the art book, but you have to buy it soon, buy it at launch. Those bundles won't last indefinitely. We didn't make a ton of those. So you can buy and walk into a store and get it. Bonus armor on 360. I believe that there is there's DLC content that was melded in, right? It's inside the game. That's right. So Icewind Dale, you asked, whatever downloadable content there may have been for Ego Draconis, it is actually, you get it on the disc. Everything is included. Not quite horse armor, a human being. And that brings us to one more thing that's a significant part of. Do you want me to talk about, set this up, or we can go through this? So let me talk about what we're seeing here. Essentially, Morgana, who is the Archmage, I believe, for the Dragon Slayers, she's going to teach us. We're seeing her having a conversation with nothing, right? And we're going to get one of our innate abilities as a Dragon Slayer. That is the memory of dragons. And it'll give us the ability to see the undead, in addition to the fact that it wipes us clean for our tutorial. So, right now in Farglow, we're going to choose our path. I'm going to touch on that in just a second. But Morgana is going to essentially give us our first major ability as a Dragon Slayer. And I apologize, I'm talking over all this dialogue, and thank you, Scott. He's doing a good job of letting it play through for you guys. This is it's fully voiced, and hopefully what you guys will find is that the dialogue, the writing, and the quality of the voice acting is great. Is definitely meeting or exceeding expectations for a game of this length, especially. PR guy, what is the main feature of why I should play this? Good question. Well, I can't just say it in once. I'll put it in a sentence. That's true. So 100 plus hours doesn't mean anything to Bob the Cat Lowell -1 just because it's on. So essentially, it's a game with satisfying, addicting action RPG gameplay akin to something like Diablo II. There is looting, and there is excessive looting, extensive looting. It's randomized. You have a story that is incredibly fleshed out in terms of the backstory. Okay, yeah, you can transform into a dragon and you can fly around. That is very true. But it is a world that's fully realized. Yeah, so yeah, there's extensive looting. I mean, there's tons of items in the game that you can. Did you have off the top of your head an idea of how the number of different weapons? And I mean,
it's completely randomized.
It's completely randomized.
So as you go from playthrough to playthrough, it's going to change drastically.
And the modifiers vary as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
So
enchantments and other things that affect weapons.
right. There's enchantments that the modifiers basically can vary, and like Scott said, it's fully randomized. Did Atlus publish Divinity II the first time it was released on 360? No, I believe that was CDV. So to kind of finish up the question, it is an RPG with all the features you'd expect, ton of depth, but you actually, I mean, there's a lot of choices in the game as well. You having no mercy on the speaker taking he's helping. Don't worry about it, guys. I get picked on all the time. There are actually significant choices in the Dragon Knight Saga that affect the game world. You'll get a battle tower eventually, and you'll have runners that are standing there at your disposal that you can level up, and they will go out into the game world and get regions for you, elements for you to use in alchemy and crafting. Your battle tower is where you can store items. You can actually send items to your chest in your battle tower at any point. Poop Nolan, playing Divinity, well, that's a tough question to answer. The previous games are all on PC, and definitely no. You don't have to have played Divine Divinity or Beyond Divinity. You can play Divinity II, the Dragon Knight Saga, and you don't have to go through any of that. Yeah, the previous game looks nothing like this. The first games look a lot more like a Diablo. They're the isometric over the head. This is much more of a over-the-shoulder 3D action RPG. What this generation of gamers is definitely going to be comfortable with. So Morgana has given us Dragon Memories, and then we have the ability to see the undead, and you can see that guy with the unfortunate haircut to our left. Now, yeah, let me see if there's any questions I missed. All right, so let's go ahead and skip through this dialogue a little bit, and we can. We're going to get one more feature that's going to be rather cool. Yeah, so and a lot of people who played Ego Draconis, they felt like the game, the RPG underneath 100 plus hours. I use that like it's a marketing point, but the reality of it is that there's a solid game in terms of the quests, the morality behind it. When we get into things, you'll see how the quests are handled. One of my favorite things is what happens when you end a quest and how the game handles that. There's little decisions with permanence in every aspect of the game. Here's a cool perk: 100 plus hours. No one would could be more pissed than to play for 10 hours and then die and lose all their progress. So the game has a pretty cool autosave that kicks in at all the right times, especially when major story events occur. And let's jump out here. Here to the right, we have the Illusionist, who will, if we want to change our appearance at any point in the game, we can go to them and they'll change our sex or our hair. This looks like the pinnacle of Belgian game development. We may, at some point in this demo, actually have members of the development team join us, by the way, the fine folks from Larian. So we'll see if any of it's actually 2 a.m. their time. If they don't join us, I don't blame them. We'll see what happens, though. They actually talked about trying to join. That's how passionate and dedicated they are. So Isabel, you can notice that her eyes are pale. They're actually lit. And one of the reasons for that is she has the ability to read minds. And she's actually going to give that to us. This, of course, these two things that we're getting from Isabel and Morgana all precede, eventually, as some of the people in the chat have talked about, the ability to 1 a.m. That is impressive. Thank you for joining us, Bob the Cat Lowell -1. Yeah, so this is actually a game that lets you... Oh, here we go. We got some folks from... I'm hoping that's not a fan that's using the name Larry and Lee Design. So if you guys have any questions for the developers, I'm hoping that they will be in fact able to join us.
Not even Morgana can read my mind. Be aware.
Very cool. Thank you for joining us, Farhang.
So you will have to work on your skills if you want to perfect this art.
Yeah, well, Bob the Cat Lol-1, I really wish you'd chosen a simpler name. One of the things that would be... So let's talk to a couple NPCs. We just got the ability to read minds. This is a huge aspect of what makes interactions with NPCs more interesting in Divinity II. First of all, there's a risk-reward. Mind reading Barbara is going to cost us 3 experience points.
Oh, poor Gerald. He's such a ferocious reader.
In this case, we're not going to learn anything particularly useful, but in most elements or most parts of the game, reading minds are going to let us discover secret quests. It'll open up potential dialogue opportunities for us. We can get discounts with vendors. Reading minds is an essential part of the game, but sometimes characters cost an arm and a leg in terms of experience points to read their minds, so you can't just go around doing it willy-nilly. You kind of have to be responsible about how many minds you read, and are you going to read the mind of a character that'll pay off in the end or not. So a lot of these members of the Dragon Slayer Order, if we try to read their mind, it'll just be reminder for us that our skill is not quite leveled. Mind reading is actually one of the general or path-independent skills. We have a few, like lockpicking, that we can pour skill points into as we level, and we will level a little later on, that will not necessarily put us down one path. So Erebir here is the ranger, and speaking to him, we can ultimately choose to retrain basically our character's skills were wiped clean, as the story tells when we talk to Morgana. So now we can choose a fresh path, and we're going to learn the ranger, the ability with the bow and arrow, and also a poison arrow special ability that has a bit of a cooldown period. So we just finished the Farglow connection quest. This is the tutorial quest. And this is one of the things I love about Divinity II in terms of quests. Every time you finish a quest, you'll receive a fixed number of rewards. Those are there on the right, experience and gold. And then you have a choice. In this case, we get 1 more reward. Sometimes you'll get 2. You may even get more than that. And there'll be a number of things on the left side that we can choose from. Do you want more gold? Do you want experience? Sometimes it's a looting, or it's a special loot. It's an item with special modifiers. Sometimes it's a potion. And it adds one more element of role-playing. You actually have to make a decision every time you finish a quest. What do you want? Do you want more experience? Do you want more gold? Someone wants to see killing. Well, Banjo-Kazooie... Banjo-Kazooie.
Look at you.
I don't know why I misread that. Banjo-Kazooie said, I don't know why you chose 69 to end your name either. He wants to see some killing. So can you satisfy his lust for blood of the innocents? Well, in this case, uninnocents. They're going to be goblins. I want to make sure I'm not missing any questions here. Yeah, let's not. This is, by the way, this is a stream of an M-rated game, so hopefully everyone here is 17 or older. I don't know what the PEGI equivalent is, but... So, let's talk about what Scott is doing right now in terms of combat. For anyone who's played Demon Souls, there's actually a lot of similarities. You lock onto your enemies by holding onto the left trigger, not the bumper, but the trigger on the 360 controller. That'll lock your enemy in your sights, and you can actually see the cursor or the targeting reticle above your enemy. If you're fighting a horde of enemies, you just flick your right analog in the direction of the enemies, much like Demon Souls again, so you can cycle through them and attack multiple enemies. When you lock in, obviously you're able to circle around your enemies rather easily. Scott is using the poison arrow, and you can see that it continues to have a status effect or damage effect on the enemy as time passes. He's also using the right trigger, again, not the bumper, but the trigger, to roll left or right. It also happens to be your jump, but if you move to the left or to the right and you press jump, you're able to roll left or right. So I see some questions here. What's the reason for re-releasing? Well, Shane for Wax, I'll leave the question about the re-releasing for Larian, but the pre-order bonuses are something that we worked with Larian to throw in. We always try when we publish our games to... So any strong sexual content.
I don't have all day.
Gosh.
My experiments, they keep me very
I'm pretty sure this game actually does have strong... Do you remember this
There
one of
are
the modifiers?
there are some suggestive things.
Yeah, there are some suggestive things. For, I mean, sir. So, or ma'am.
Fine, go
So this is Alberic, who actually is going to be able to train us in the art of magic. He is the wizard, and we will get a mace and the fireball spell if we choose to go down this path. And when we go through the 3 different tutorial... Asking... well, Poop Nolan, what would you do with a new dragon? Seriously. I know what Banjo-Kazooie 69 would do with the new dragon, though. So we're going to go ahead and show you how things control a little differently with the wizard class, the wizard skills. So we have the fireball, and we also have the mace. We can jump in there, and we're getting some crazy experience here with these goblins. My gosh, one experience. And as soon as we dispatch these guys, we're going to go back and we'll try one more path. We want to show you guys how the different classes play. So you can be the ranger, you can be just a straight-up warrior, a melee class with a sword. You can be the wizard, and there's also a priest class. There's some necromancy and summoning that goes on there. But what I was alluding to earlier, and this is one of my big frustrations whenever I play an RPG, particularly, I have to be honest, an Atlus RPG, because our games are typically 40, 60, 80 hours, is that you'll pick a path, you'll make decisions about how you want to level your character. In some games, and you're locked into it. And you find out a little later on that your play style and how the game is designed don't really jive with the character you created. So, the good news in Divinity II the Dragon Knight Saga is that you are not locked into a set path. You don't have to worry about multi-classing or any Dungeons & Dragons rules. You will choose one skill to start out with that best suits you, and the game gives you these ample opportunities to go into the battlefield and test out what you like. But then, you're able to apply points any which way you see fit. You could be a warrior with necromancy or priest abilities. You could be a warrior with magic abilities. You can be a warrior with... will the pre-order bonuses be available for normal copies? So, okay, I think I addressed that a little earlier. If you go into a store at launch, most retailers should have a shrink-wrapped bundle that includes the game, with the soundtrack is physical, with the soundtrack CD tucked into the game case, and on top of all that, you'll also have the art book shrink-wrapped in. So we said the art book, 52 pages, full color, was just for pre-order, but the truth of the matter is we're actually including that for a lot of the launch copies you'll get on the shelf, too. At $39.99, considering the caliber of the game, how much game you get, and all those bonuses, we think it's a pretty sweet deal. So, all right, we just went through the 3 different classes, or the 3 different disciplines that you can go through, and let's stick with Warrior. Let's just walk out of Farglow now, and we'll advance to the next portion of the game. Where can I find the bundle in the UK for PC? Why are there 2 Bob the Cat
more
rolls?
than ready to head back to the Academy, Slayer.
So we're going to head back to the Academy, and we're actually going to go to the next stop will be Broken Valley, and we'll go to the first village there and solve a few more quests. But Bob the Cat Lowell not really understanding. So the 360 stuff that we've just talked about is just for the North American launch. The game is already available in Europe, and I believe there may have been something at retail, but this is so what we're discussing here, the pre-order bonus and stuff like that, just North America. Enemies are kind of sparse right now. The enemy density, you'll definitely run into end areas where you're going to be swarmed. And the enemies will attack you once you get within a certain radius of them. One of the things to note is that enemies don't respawn. So this is a game that's not designed to just be a grind fest. Some games are grind fests, not the case. This is a game that's incredibly tuned and balanced. But you will find areas, massive fields, where you take 3 steps and you'll be swarmed by goblins. So much like the very best RPGs, a lot of folks like Gothic 2 for this reason. A lot of folks like Demon Souls for this reason. The game won't necessarily warn you to. This is much more Daggerfall than it is Oblivion. If you wander into an area that you shouldn't go, you will have your ass handed to you. This is a challenging game if you don't play it smart. So you'll go into an area and no one will say, look man, you shouldn't be here, you're a wuss compared to what you need to be to fight here. And you get annihilated by your enemies. So, enough with the comparisons. No continually respawning enemies. Yeah, no continually respawning enemies. That's right. Enemies have set levels, no scaling. Absolutely not. There's no auto leveling like there is in Oblivion. Right, and Flames. So I actually stopped talking about. I'm sorry, I was about to mention this and we got sidetracked. One of the huge things for the Dragon Knight Saga, in addition to all the enhancements, is an expansion. Flames of Vengeance, for anyone who played Ego Draconis, for anyone who's just getting the 2-pack of games right off the bat, that's another 20 or 25 hours of gameplay, and you're a high-level character, you are already a Dragon Knight at that point. Flames of Vengeance is a very different experience, too. So as Farhan said, you have the ability to... There are respawning enemies, and if you haven't played Ego Draconis, you just want to jump into Flames of Vengeance, you can do that from the title screen. You don't have to play through Ego Draconis to get to the expansion content. So here we have the video. We're being treated to us landing in Broken Valley. We're going to spend a lot of time here. Our first stop is going to be going into Broken Valley Village, and our first quest is actually going to be to talk to a couple NPCs. So Scott, do you want to talk a little bit about... well, kind of from our quest here and what we're going to have to do to start out in Broken Valley.
There's going to be a little cutscene here. Rhoda is going to explain the situation to the player and to all the other Dragon Slayers. And she's going to put you on a quest to figure out where the Dragon Knight is. Yes. There was a question about, does it use speed tree? Yes, the game does use speed tree. It also uses PhysX for the physics, and I guess that's it. I don't think there's anything else of note to point out. But someone asked about speed tree. Yes.
Right. Time to start the hunt.
I can see the faces in the game are done. Can we romance any of these? You guys really have.
I will notify the local officials of our arrival.
You guys are really interested in the romance, huh?
Come and find me and we'll head out.
You've been playing a lot of Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
Good.
Can you romance a dragon?
Remember, Slayers. Now, hop through it.
I don't think that's possible.
Not
you
so
guys,
fast,
I'll romance my sword with a goblin space.
Your
That sounds awesome. I like that line, Hex Editor.
We can see here that the mind reading costs are already going up by a lot.
Right. There's none of that tutorial 1 GP weapons and shit like that, or stuff like that.
We need to destroy this Dragon Knight as soon as possible.
These man-children play too much BioWare dating. All right, so we're going to skip through this dialogue. So our new quest. So let's go through the menu real quick. Let's show us some of the options we have here. We'll quickly touch on the skill tree, even though we haven't leveled up yet, and then show the logbook maybe. So. We have our vitality, our spirit, our strength, our dexterity, our intelligence. You can see a lot of the stats there in terms of our weapon damage, melee damage, ranged attack, things like that. So vitality is your health and fitness. Spirit is basically your mana. Strength determines your physical prowess, your damage you do in melee attacks, your resistance to attacks. It influences both your conditioned body and your hit point regeneration. Dexterity is your agility and your reflexes. It'll increase the damage you do with ranged attacks, the resistance you have against ranged attacks, and the percentage of your heightened reflexes modifier. And intelligence establishes your cognitive competence. So basically, it's the damage you do with magic, your resistance to magic, and it influences indomitable will and your mana regeneration. You can see all that stuff there. The game has in-depth, if you look at the percentages and the stats, there's a lot of RPG depth here. All of the user interface has been redone for Dragon Knight Saga. So anyone who played Ego Draconis, there's a lot to like about how things have been redone. And here you can see there's the 4 paths, the priest, the mage, the warrior, and the ranger. And then there are the general dragon slayer, just kind of miscellaneous or general skills. So I always put some points into lockpick. Mind read is actually a passive skill that you can invest in. And if you press Y, for all of these, you have a cool video that shows you how it works. It gives you an explanation. No Star Trek, no Star Trek reference yet, by the way. So I'll see if I can come up with a good one.
Yeah, now I'm thinking about a way to integrate a next generation reference into this. So you have the ability to summon ghosts. Since you don't have a party, do you still have the depth of party members in core NPCs? Are there sequences in which you're fighting alongside your fellow dragons, or later on in the game?
There are a couple of quests where you help out NPCs, but for the most part, you're on your own, except for your creature, which you get later on in the game.
Right. Well, and then there are NPCs that will help you when you ultimately get your battle tower. They won't actively help you, but you do have your runners, for example. The runners are actually these NPCs that stand idly by for you to give them an element for crafting to just run out and get. I meant in terms of personality and learning their personality. Yeah, you will see a lot of the same characters over the course of your adventure. So the NPCs, there aren't a lot of NPCs that you meet, and then there's the members of the Slayer Order you're going to be with for a good chunk of the beginning of the game, and then when you ultimately become a Dragon Knight, there's going to be a series of other NPCs. You meet Zandalore a few hours in, right? I think it's right. Yeah, right around the time you become a Dragon Knight. Zandalore is the Gandalf of Rivellon, or Divinity II, if you will. So there are some memorable NPCs to be sure, and there's certainly NPCs, particularly some of the bad ones, the bad guys, that will be memorable for you. Here, right off the bat, you can see Scott's using some mind-reading abilities. So it's explained kind of a little. You did kind of briefly, but what we're doing here now, we're going to go ask NPCs for.
Right, we need to find NPCs in the village who have information on the Dragon Knight. This one that we're talking to here does know about it and meets the qualifications of talking to the people that we need to in order to complete the quest.
Do you ultimately get to a point where you have to start putting points? Well, what's the max level in the game? Do you know off the top of your head?
It depends on how thorough you are.
Right, because the enemies don't respond.
But at least in the 30s to 40s.
Right, and that leads nicely into Flames of Vengeance, which I think requires a level 35 character.
Well, if you use a pre-generated character in Flames of Vengeance, it starts off at 35, right. So, yeah, you're going to be expected to go about 35 levels. And if you noticed in the trees, I mean, you could just invest in one tree, but will you ever get to the point where you've maxed out 2, 3 trees and you're just running out of things? Probably not. I mean, you can put 5 points into each of those skills that you saw. So you will have a character that is either balanced or specialized, but not necessarily specialized in a billion things. You will not be a deity at the end of the game. You're still a powerful dragon slayer / knight later on in the game, but you won't be maxed out.
Quite scared I was.
Can you
so
tell
I hid
them?
in the closet.
Oh, these are not the droids.
Way back in the valley. No go.
So here Scott's going to continue to go through NPCs, and I'll try to talk a little bit about the setup here in Broken Valley. So what basically we've been tasked to do, we are on this final push, this order of Dragon Slayers, to wipe out the Dragon Knights. They are on the retreat. I mentioned earlier that the Dragon Knights were accused of slaying the deity, the divine of the order, the prophet that the order of Dragon Slayers worshipped. And one of the cool things about mind reading, by the way, is that vendors, if you mind read, will lower their prices. Typically, it's a costly thing to do, but now we can get some better prices from him. The description there said he worships the ground we walk on, so this is the best pricing we could possibly get. And if we press the bumpers, we can cycle through the different categories here. The interface, I mentioned it's been redone. Really nicely done. This is certainly an intuitive console RPG interface for inventory management and for merchants. You can see the stats. You can see how they compare to what we have. You can actually cycle through all the weapons we have. You can extensively see the modifiers. I apologize, by the way, for any questions I miss. I'm kind of split my attention between 2 screens, but hopefully you guys are digging the redone interface, especially those of you who've played Eager Draconis. And you'll notice in terms of frame rate, in terms of the quality of the lighting, a lot of stuff has been redone. The graphics engine is all new for Dragon Knight Saga.
Priest of the New Order.
Nice. Can you respec after you... Can you respec? Are there characters? Yes. Yeah, the battle tower. There we go. You can respec, and it has a cost. Yeah, I remember that.
There is a cost.
It's like a 15.
Recently goes up.
Yeah, 15,000. Yeah, exactly. So there are a number of side quests. Any plot twists? Certainly plot twists, right? In fact, there's one decision you can make, not to give spoilers, that renders one part of the game. You can't land there for a while, right? I mean, you can only go over it in dragon form. Am I right? Like the land becomes wasted. I don't want to spoil anything, but I mean, you can make decisions that dramatically affect the landscape, and perhaps you won't even be able to access a certain area for a while. There are plenty of plot twists. And so here, as I was just starting to say, there are a number of side quests in Divinity II. Some of them are of the more, I would say, some of them are funnier, some of them are definitely entertaining. There's a farmer, really early on here actually, just in a farm outside of Broken Valley Village, who is upset because he thinks his wife is having an affair. And you actually can, there's something similar to that in Fable 2, I recall, but this one is handled in a very interesting way. You kind of have a choice in the matter, and then the dialogue for the characters after you resolve the quest, I think, is rather fun too. Clear indication when there's someone we can talk to, or they have something interesting for us to say.
Miserable monk. I bet you never felt affection for the... Hey there, Dragon Slayer. I'm Richard of Aram. Care to make some extra money?
So another opportunity for a side quest. He's going to actually reward us for getting him, is it Goblin Hearts? Goblin Hearts. So we can collect Goblin Hearts, bring it to Richard, and he will pay us. Is there any time of indicator that you need to talk to a specific NPC? I don't believe any of the interactions with NPCs are based on time. No, and actually the time of day, there is no day-night cycle in terms of when you're standing still. The day-night changes as you progress through the game, or at least what's the word? As you progress through different areas, the environment, the lighting, or the weather, and the colors and things like that will change.
There are plenty of the little bastards to go around. That's the spirit.
Let me see if are there any children in the game. I do believe are there kids? I'm not, now off the top of my head, I'm not certain. I don't believe there are. There's no shortage of pigs though. You actually, interestingly enough, a bit of trivia: you can kill chickens and you can kill rabbits, but you cannot kill pigs. And I mean, pigs, when you think about DNA, it's 98%. They're 98% of our DNA, so clearly they're the closest thing to humans in the games. That's probably why you can't kill them. Lovely looking water here. And here we have some of our goblins. These are tribal goblins. You watch Scott is locking onto them by holding on the L trigger. 13 experience each. We should be leveling up soon. No, we should be good there. So here we come up against a corpse. Some iron there, some gold. Oh, there's actually going to be a quest we're coming up to right here. So there are quests that you can stumble upon. There are these cool cutscenes that will introduce them. And this guy has put himself in a tough situation. Quincy, let's read his mind, just for the hell. Although it'll set us back on leveling up, won't it? 400 XP.
It's pricey here. Sometimes you'll get something really neat out of it. Sometimes you'll just get some interesting dialogue out of it. You're never quite sure.
Yeah, just because it costs more doesn't mean you're going to get something cool out of it. You could discover some, see some quest area or mine or something like that.
There are items that are superior to most of the other items in the game that you can only get through mind reading.
A human being, they smell though. Could smell.
Up here.
So this guy is trapped upstairs, hunted by goblins, and yeah, the lighting does shine through the trees in a very enjoyable way. So we're going to take care of this infestation of goblins that's giving this guy trouble. And we just accepted a new quest. Very quickly after this fight's done, let's show folks the hotkey map. We actually should level up right when we take care of this shaman. Maybe not. Grappling hook is right over there. So now you can see the looting ability. Loot drops. Pick it up. It's a quest item. Throw it up to him, and he'll be down in a second.
Thank you, Slayer.
Any blocking mechanics? The character automatically.
You do get a shield.
Yeah, you do get a shield. But it's not something that's active on the part. It's a passive. It boosts your defensive skills. So there's no blocking mechanic. It is very much akin to a Diablo 2 per se, in that you, based on all of your stats and your character's abilities or limitations, you attack until your enemy is destroyed. Fast-paced, satisfying, addicting, especially when there's a ton of enemies around you. Is there any sort of new game plus? To my knowledge, no.
But there are multiple difficulty levels. There's 4, if I'm not mistaken, and there's also Flames of Vengeance, which is the expansion pack. Let's see if there's any questions I'm missing. Tactical blocking and positioning was your favorite part of Demon's Souls. Drifter Frost, to be sure. The one advantage of doing it this way is that it's not skill-based, it's stat-based. So you're rewarded for making, for the less... Demon's Souls is very much an action, it was a very reflex-based game. The skill in Divinity II is much more cerebral in terms of how you create your character. So here is Road, and I think we've talked to all the people we needed to, right? So we're going to go ahead and get our next quest.
To report so we can commence the hunt.
We have some information for her.
Praise be the divine.
It's very attractive armor Road is wearing. Actually, there's one girl in the tavern I want us to talk to. I love her dialogue about booty.
Good.
You know who I'm talking about? I think it's funny stuff.
I hope Marius will be back with more news soon.
One of the things I love in a good RPG are dialogue choices that are that satisfy one's sarcastic or
I give you this order for an important reason.
cynical tendencies, and there's a lot of funny dialogue options in Divinity II. I actually think the writing, the localization is fantastic here. So hopefully we'll get a chance to show you guys some of that stuff. So, and actually, I guess when we level up shortly, what we're going to do is let you guys choose what we put our points into. We'll make it open to everyone who's watching, and you guys basically tell us what you want. We'll go ahead and apply the points.
The effect is temporary, however.
Let's see if there's any...
Next and last part.
Someone just lost interest. Oh, based on it being a 3D Diablo. A human being, yes, you have my attention. Please ask your question. Does being nice versus mean with NPC interaction have a lot of in-game consequences? There are certainly decisions you can make that change things, but whether you're sarcastic or not, I think it ends up determining sometimes with merchants, whether they give you good deals or not.
A couple.
Yeah, a couple of the merchants will definitely like you more or less based on your being a sarcastic prick or not. So here's a great example of the quest reward system. We've got a sword with +2 to strength, so it's got a modifier going on. We've got a charm, which we just have it in our inventory, and it boosts us, similar, I guess you could say, to Diablo. We've got a couple potions, we got experience, a ton of experience, we got gold.
So here's a good example of a tough choice. We have a lot of experience here, or a really decent sword for early on in the game.
Now we have 2 rewards we can choose here. I guess we can go ahead and go with those 2. We think right now, based on our character, since we're a warrior, it makes sense. If we were a ranger, maybe we went with +1 to dexterity. So we'll proceed with the reward. And we leveled up. We get an achievement for our first level. No, so Reploid God. It's not that you can only choose... Well, usually you'll only be choosing 1 or 2, yes. And that's really this is like, it's a bonus for solving the quest. You noticed on the right-hand side, you already get a fixed number of experience, for sure, and a fixed number of gold, for sure. Some quests, you get a lot of cool bonus stuff on the left-hand side that you have to choose from, yes. And that's a really satisfying aspect of the RPG element in Divinity II, which is you have to make choices in terms of what your bonus items are. There's no level cap, but until I guess you get to Flames of Vengeance, there's a finite number of quests and enemies. So at some point, you'll need to move on to the expansion in order to continue to level up. Push the limit. Let's see. Yeah, variations of weapons and armor. Yep, hundreds, literally hundreds would be appropriate. All right, so Scott's waiting for me. We've got 3 points here. Let's hear it, guys. What do you want us to pour points into? I guess maybe we can just go with generally priest, mage, warrior, ranger, or putting points into our dragon slayer. I'm going to wait for the first few repeated responses, and we'll pour some points in based on Scott's favorite skills within certain paths. Warrior, all right, 2 for mage. Let's go with mage right off the bat then. We got magic. What do you think? Magic missile?
And fireball.
Okay. All right. So we're a warrior who has some magic ability. We could go. Let's just quickly go over Dragon Slayer skills. We don't have to put any points in. So we have mind read. We have wisdom. We have lockpick, which is a personal favorite of mine. Nothing pisses me off more than getting into a dungeon and not being able to open everything. Because like hell, I'm going to go back when I have time and try to open a lock. Encumbrance lets us hold, carry more. We have the ability to dual wield, single-handed weapon expertise, sword and shield expertise, two-handed weapon expertise. And yes, enchantment. There are enchantments in the game. A lot of that ties into eventually your battle tower. Maybe I mentioned it already, but you have these NPCs when you finally get your battle tower, maybe a dozen hours into the game, maybe a little longer, that first of all, in the process of getting your battle tower is awesome. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's multiple NPCs that you can recruit, and you actually have to choose between the two. It's part of the quest. A lot of cool major decisions to make. RPGs are always better when you have profound decisions that have lasting permanence. And then also you have these NPCs, these runners that you can level up. You can make them increase their speed and their ability to bring back enchantment ingredients. But they'll run out into the world and they'll pull back ingredients for enchantments based on what you ask them to bring. Yeah, so we can. So let's go. Let's put it into whatever. We got the fireball, the magic missile,
and
good.
Dual wield.
And dual wield. Cool. And we'll level up our status. Whatever. I guess strength, intelligence makes some sense for us, or is it spirit?
Be both.
It'll be both, right? For our mana and our. We got 8 points left. We got a lot of points. Do you have to be rogue to unlock stuff? Bob the Cat Lowell, there's actually no rogue class per se. Lockpicking is really what it's all about. Lockpick. I don't know if we ended up putting 1 point into lockpick, but maybe we won't get to a dungeon with a ton of locks in this first hour. And by the way, guys, we're going to go for about an hour tonight, and we're already, close to 6 p.m. already.
As you can see, we already got the DLC items.
Yeah, we already have the DLC items sitting in our inventory.
You have to get up a little higher to use them. But
there is a level lock on it, so we're not just going to super overpower. Did you get the hidden skill book in the tutorial arena?
Might have missed that.
Oh no, Scott. Scott's playing. It's all his fault. Is that a wink? Is there something wrong with Farhang's eye? That's the weirdest smiley I've ever seen.
That was not the secret book.
No, that's not. But you notice there are books in the game. It's got the cool page animation. I mean, presentation, obviously, in terms of the interface. One of the huge incentives to play Dragon Knight Saga. And I love the fact that your first sword is literally my first sword. The dungeons, the loot is randomly generated. The chests and enemies, however, are not. Let's see here. Let me see if there's any questions. Yeah, runners. Oh, Benoit has joined. All right, so thank you for joining, Benoit. I don't think you were in earlier, but we actually have 2 people from Larian joining us. And I want everyone to appreciate the fact that it is 2 in the morning right now for the fine folks there in Belgium. And they are doing us a huge favor to be here. So if you guys have any questions, take advantage of the fact that they're here. So the night is still young. Technically, it's not the night anymore. The one thing I'll say about load times, you will find maybe exterior, interior loads or loads in between major transitions are a bit on the long side, but there are not a lot of loads in the game. The exterior areas are huge. So you'll never come across an area. I mean, you'll look at the map, and there's a huge expanse of land between exterior loads. That's one of the big things to note is that if it seems like a long load, it's because the game is loading huge areas at once. So I guess we're going to go back now to Road. Our quest now. You know what? Let's show the quest interface too, real quick. The logbook. Oh, Benoit just joined in, or he's been sitting. Well, thank you guys for being up. I don't know if I would actually be dedicated enough to be up at 2 a.m. So here we have an example of our current quests. And that's kind of demonstrated by the open scroll at the top. If we tab over, it should be our completed quests. If we tab over again, it's our dialogue. So this is super cool. We can actually go through all of the conversations we've had. It shows us our achievements. It shows us basically a log of our RPG kind of tracker in terms of damage we've inflicted, damage we've taken, things like that. And you have to say that out loud, Scott. I don't understand that. Yeah. We'll continue. Well, we're going to stop at when we get to 6 p.m. our time. We're going to kind of stop, but we'll see how far we can go. and then we will save, and we will pick up tomorrow night. And we're sorry to break it into 2 or 3 nights, but you got to understand, our ability to go for 3 hours is just as hard as it is your ability to go for 3 hours. Do we have the key? We got the key to open this. So this is it. We're going to save it here. We got this quest to go into the crypt underneath the chapel, and we're going to have. This is our first dungeon experience. Yeah, we're going on to the first ghost. That's right. No, you don't want us to go to the first ghost? No? I think they think you're going to die. Is what it is.
It's possible.
Should you have done a side quest or two, Scott?
I think I can handle it.
Oh, he thinks we're going to die. Oh, you wanted to stop. We will probably stop short of the... Oh, you can't stop now. Can we save here?
I saved before.
We saved before we went in. Oh, he's right. Maybe we don't want to retread any of this. Can we leave now, or are we stuck in until we... Yeah,
we can head out.
I think we are on casual mode. Scott was not sure. Basically, Scott didn't want to suck it up in the middle of this demo and die. Let's do one side quest. How about let's go to the farm.
I mean, the game is challenging enough that if you're not paying attention, you will die. It requires some concentration, even on casual mode.
So let's go to the farm. I love that quest. And we can do that right now, right? He's suspecting his wife is cheating on him. And dear developers, please add romances. No romance. You know what? You guys can fight to the death about it. One of the things I want to point out is that there are a lot of side quests that are they're funny, they're entertaining. And a testament to the quality of the localization, a testament to the quality of the original script. But we're going to go to one of my favorites here in just a moment. Actually, you'll notice that Scott chose dual wielding, and he's already got his 2 swords across his back here. So here's Folo, one of our favorite characters. He's in desperate need of help. It's his pigs. You want to read his mind? Bessie, my poor pig. She was too young to die, my Bessie. Aww.
The new order impounded 3 of them.
I'll try to save their bacon, so to speak. The pigs are over at Jackson Farm, and we have to whisper Rosebud to one of the pigs, and the pigs will kind of know what to do, curiously enough. Bestiality, a man and his pig. How touching. I don't know. I've noticed in the last few years of my life that there are a lot of people who love bacon. I don't understand it. Bacon is good, but there are people who I think they're willing to name their firstborn Bacon. This pig is going to be slaughtered by the New Order. We're doing him a favor. That's right.
I can't.
Awkward silence here. Oh, our lockpick level is not high enough. Oh, foiled. I told you. Lockpicking, Scott. Darn. Alright, here we go. Carl Jackson.
Good morning to you, Slayer.
And the rest of the day to you. How's life on the farm? We'll read his mind.
Right, good day for farming.
Oh, he seems so happy.
Right, good day any day.
It won't be for long.
Now look at the second dialogue option. Yes, and some generic greeting to you. All is well, I trust?
Aye. It's a quiet life is life on the farm.
Quiet on the farm.
Rain or fall, and them goblins keep to themselves. Mind you, that new order or something's a wee bit of a
The new order is a pain in his butt, so we'll figure out what that's all about. And we can see the new order sitting there behind, taking over his barn, as it were. So I guess we can kind of jump in here. Should we talk to the new order guys first?
Why must we always get... Hail, Slayer, the new order greets you.
Yes, formalities give me itches in uncomfortable places. Like I said, there's a lot of funny, sarcastic dialogue options for you to choose from. And yeah, very often it will actually affect the response you get from them. Sometimes it has a significant effect. If it's a merchant, they'll change their pricing.
So tell me, how can I be of assistance? Very well.
Alright, so let's go ahead and whisper Rosebud to... can we jump over the fence?
Hey, Slayer, those are new order pigs, okay?
Yes, the likeness is striking. We can tell they're New Order pigs. Your character has nil pupils because you gain the ability to read minds. It's actually part of your Dragon Slayer repertoire of skills. Your eyes were not blue when earlier on.
Such as?
So we're here. We have a couple choices for getting rid of these guys and freeing up the ability to loosen the pigs and get Folo his pig back. So there he goes.
With pleasure.
There was another way to get rid of him, right? Yeah, we had another option that would have had other dialogue to get rid of the New Order. Oh, here we go. Rosebud? That'll do. That'll do. We're gonna ignore that. They're going up on top of each other too. Can you romance the pig? Aram, your fleece, your flock, your something be true. It's a hammy end to the stream, to be sure.
There are no gorgeous triplets.
Yeah, no pun intended. Slayer, why did you send us on a wild goose chase? There are no gorgeous triplets in the woods. More's the pity, I should say.
Exactly.
You don't question a Dragon Slayer, Lomax. Exactly, I mean, we're here to help, you know.
But hold on, where are the pigs?
I have absolutely they moved on, Lomax. At some point, you just have to let go.
What are you even talking about? Divine, you slayers are a
So great dialogue. I personally get a kick out of it. Blameful Gecko, did I miss some of the new additions to the game compared to... Yes, short list. Completely redone graphics, completely redone interface, Flames of Vengeance expansion with an additional 25 or so hours of gameplay, tons of little tweaks and enhancements here and there. There you go. I'll talk to Dana. This is one of my favorite quests. Would you mind doing me a little favor? So we'll read her mind. Why must Carl keep that key up on a beam? I can never reach it. But let's do her favor for her. And we'll consider this quest the end of the broadcast. But of course not, madam.
Please
bring this letter to Dirk, the blacksmith in the village.
Don't tell my husband. It's
Particularly Blameful Gecko, the 360 version of Ego Draconis, everyone thought had a lot of promise, but technically rough around the edges, especially compared to the PC version. Much like the Witcher Enhanced Edition addressed a lot of rough corners for the original game, Dragon Knight Saga on 360 is smooth, it's buttery, the interface is redone, it looks better. It's the game any RPG fan would hope for and expect, and you know, it's $39.99. Coming out next Tuesday, actually, here in North America, and it includes a soundtrack CD with 20 tracks, and it also anyone who pre-ordered gets the art book, but if you go into a store at launch or close to launch, you should be able to find a shrink-wrapped bundle that includes the art book there as well. 52 pages, full color. Not quite out yet, Reploid GodX. Comes out April 12th, next Tuesday in North America for $39.99, 100 plus hours. So we're going to wrap up this Ustream. We're going to deliver the message to Dirk, the blacksmith. And I love the dialogue that ensues back with Carl, the farmer. Which do you like better, dual-wielding it up or magical missile facing people? I think it depends. I personally, I'm more of a melee character myself. I always like the dual-wielding and the two-handed weapons. But the advantage of projectiles is that you can get a few attacks in from the beginning. Or are you showing them the quick mapping? Alright, so one of the really cool things about the interface is you can hold down any button, the D-pad, or even one of the already mapped buttons, and we can actually apply any of our abilities, or we can apply a healing item like food or potion to any of the buttons. So it is a interface that's designed to be super cool for 360 players. Good lord, not another layer. Stop disturbing me. So let's give him his package.
What's that?
Oh, I was wondering when she'd ... Care to share what's in the package? Dana is finally ready to leave that miserable old peasant.
I shall take her away from
Did we read his mind? Should we read his mind? Oh, he just lowered his prices. I think I lost my cellar key last time I saw Dana in Tim's barn. Now, you'll remember Dana mentioned a key up on the top. That is the same key that we're referring to here, right? No, different key?
Different key.
Different key. Aram shuts up now. So here are some of the things that we get for solving the quest. Experience, gold, a book, History of the Dragon Knights Part 3, Potion of Lesser Rejuvenation. So there's actually a lot of backstory. Similar to the Elder Scrolls game, you can find these books and read them, and it'll flesh things out for you. So the prices just got lowered for the blacksmith. Let's rush back to Carl and his farm as quickly as we can. I can't wait to hear... Oh, and there he runs off. We're going to get right to the end, and we'll probably abruptly end the stream. So if there are any final questions here as we just hit 6 p.m., please ask them now. We will pick up again tomorrow night at Pacific Daylight Time, 5 p.m. sharp, the same time this broadcast started. So please, if you're interested in seeing more, please tune in. We'd be happy to show you. You actually run very quickly and actually you'll run even faster when you gain more powers, just a few more hours in. So let's find Carl. Oh, Carl Jackson.
It's a miserable life.
It's a miserable life now. He was so happy sooner, wasn't he? He was so happy. Cheer up, Carl. You'll find someone else.
I don't know, Slayer.
It's hard to find decent folk now. We just screwed up Carl Jackson's life. I mean, she was going to leave him anyways, but...
Maybe Carl had it coming.
Maybe Carl had it coming. Alright, so what do you think? We call it an ending point. We'll save it here. When we pick up, we will go into the crypt. We'll solve a few more quests. And maybe we'll get very close to developing our Dragon Knight abilities. If we find that we hit our point... if we start to encroach on the third stream tomorrow night, then what we'll do is we'll play ahead a bit and we'll create a save game that we can jump to when we get to the point we wanted to finish in the third stream, and we'll actually jump ahead a little bit in the game. Gatsu25, we have saved this stream. We're going to see how it turns out in terms of a quality standpoint, and if it's good, we'll go ahead and put it maybe on YouTube. Anyways, folks, this concludes part 1 of our planned 3-part Ustream for Divinity II, the Dragon Knight Saga. We'll conclude with a little note, as we will every Ustream. Divinity II, the Dragon Knight Saga, is going to be in stores in North America for Xbox 360 on April 12th. For $39.99, you get the soundtrack inside every launch copy. It's actually tucked in behind the manual inside the wrap. And you'll also get, if you pre-ordered, a 52-page full-color art book, The Art of Divinity II, the Dragon Knight Saga. If you go into a store at launch, some retailers, it's possible they'll have a bundle with the pre-order bonus actually available. So even you laggers who didn't pre-order have a chance to get it. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you very much for tuning in. And hopefully you guys are looking forward to Divinity II. And oh, by the way, the demo for Divinity II, the Dragon Knight Saga, which will be a lot of what we're going through in this 3-part Ustream, is available now on Xbox Live Marketplace. Download the demo. Maybe don't dive into it yet until we're done, but it gives you a chance to try some of the things we did here tonight, choosing different skills, different dialogue choices, and there's a ton of things to explore in Broken Valley Village. So hopefully you guys check the demo out when you have a chance. All right, guys, until part 2 of this 3-part series. Take care.